What drove me to start seeking help was my drinking had become out of control and my life was just spiraling downward. And just when I would think that that downward would be as far down as it could be, it would continue to go farther and farther down. One of the reasons why I drank the way that I did and stayed in that cycle was I couldn't deal with the pain. I couldn't deal with the pain of the decisions that I was making and the ramifications. We learned that sin doesn't just affect us, it affects the people around us, and that's a pretty heavy weight to carry. When I was a mother and an alcoholic at the same time, I felt like a monster. I felt like someone who wanted one thing so bad, and the thing that I hated and didn't want the most always won. The way that I drank was to be into oblivion. It was to no longer be aware. I was so miserable with what I had become and being so disconnected. I remember journaling that I didn't know what love was. I had a daughter, I had people that cared about me, and I could not tell you what love felt like. I started seeking help in April of 2021. My first avenue was Alcoholics Anonymous, and my second avenue was assisted medication to help with cravings or to make you sick if you drank. My third was therapy. My fourth was outpatient. My fifth was Cox North. Some of these programs helped in the beginning, or helped for a moment, but it was only a matter of time before a relapse would happen, and with each relapse, it was worse. When I came into Finding the Family, it was right at the start of the holidays, and it was a really bittersweet time for me. There was a moment where I was standing in Deb's kitchen and everybody was socializing and cooking, and in reality, there were these people that I had just met. They were strangers. And we have this joke where we walk it off when you walk the property, and I had to go walk it off. And I was on this walk and I just felt the most overwhelming sense of being home. And it was the first moment that I felt real peace. When I was a little girl, I was raised going to church, and I had this love for Jesus. I remember singing the song, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine," and I could just imagine his spirit within me and my little light that he had lit. And I was singing a song in our car, and everything just went completely white, and I was no longer aware of anything around me. All I could see is white, and all I could feel was this bliss. And when I woke up, I was just covered, and I was soaking wet from crying. And in that moment, I knew that I had met my first love, and he had met me, and that was a moment that I carried my whole life. When Deb asked me on my phone interview if I was ready to find my first love again, I felt super overwhelmed. I felt unsure, to be honest, because I didn't know what that was going to be like, my first love not being a tangible person. So when I first came into finding the family, I had this idea that I was giving up all of my freedom and all of my options. And the longer I stayed with finding the family and the deeper I got into God's Word, the more that His Word became true. And the more I found all of my freedom. You know, I found all of my options. I have options now, you know. And it's a hard thing to learn submission. And I remember thinking, like, am I going to need to do a dance? Am I going to need to be on my knees at the end of my bed every day for X amount of days in order to learn how to do this? And it wasn't until I read 1 Peter, where he says, humble yourself before the mighty hand of God, and He will raise you up at the right time. And I read that, and I said, okay, everything else has been true in this, so I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to humble myself before you. And right now, that's the leadership here. And so I did that, and I stopped being the horse that fought the bit, and I just walked into freedom. When I came to finding the family, and I started learning the truth, it was when God started taking the scales off my eyes that I was able to see my reality, and it was painful, but I was able to look at it anyway, and He gave me that strength to get through it. He gave me that strength to get through the pain of what my life had become, and then He started binding me together. You know, He was near me in my brokenness. And over this year, you know, I'm walking out a new woman. One of the most unique things about finding the family is you get to experience all of these things together as a family. So you get to heal together as a family. You get to learn new ways of life as a family. You get to discover the peace and joy that comes with having God the center of your life. And you get to have these amazing leaders that set such an amazing example. You get to have people that you get to look to and see the fruits of their life and say, I know it's possible. I know it's real. And you get to do this all within your own home. So you get to really rediscover or discover, period, how to parent and parent in a godly way and parent the way that God has designed us to. One of the best things about finding the family is doing it with your kid.
It's so fun, and we like to go walks and find some nature with us.
Yeah? Is it hard making it up the big hill?
And we went to the river today, and guess what? We found a shrimp.
You know, for me, when I came here, this was the last stop. This was it. You know, it's either this works out or this does not work out and I'm done. And what I would say to someone who feels scared to give up their freedom, scared to give up their control, is they already don't have it. It does feel scary. It absolutely feels scary. But it's one of the best things that you'll ever do. I think it was the first thing that Brittany said to me when I got here, is He's got life and He has life abundantly for you. And I thought to myself that I don't even know what that could look like. And there I have it. I never thought it was going to be possible to say, like, I'm never going to drink again. I tried several times, hundreds of times, and had failure after failure after failure. And it wasn't until I came out here and I fully surrendered to God and found Him and knew Him as my first love that I was able to not only stay sober and know that I am going to stay sober, but to find freedom. Finding the family is not just behavioral change, it is spiritual transformation. It's heart change. I am so thankful for my family and friends who have continued to support me, to allow reconciliation to happen. I'm so thankful for finding the family and everything that they've done in support of me and Sparrow and everything that's coming.